All right, people, welcome. Happy, what is today, Casey? Tuesday the 11th? Is that
It
right?
is. Yeah.
I got to figure out how to turn off my, I got to put the sound in my earpiece instead of the speakers. Hang on one second. Let me make an adjustment here. All right. Say something, Casey.
Test 1 2.
Sounds like it's
Uh
still on my speakers. Audio.
speak.
I got to change it on my computer and in Restream. All right. I think we're good now. Except now I can't hear you.
Oh, it's because I'm not talking really, but sorry.
Guys, welcome. In case you're wondering where I've been and you're not on Twitter, I've been spending, the past 2 days, I think yesterday, about 9 or 10 hours listening in on various Twitter space calls. And then again today, that's on top of dealing with the Discord and watching the stock market meltdown. So today we're going to talk about a few things that are going on, things I've been working on. Let's see, I've been talking with Avi. I'm not going to butcher his last name off of Twitter about this AMC bond hedge fund thing. We can talk about that if you guys want to talk about that. I've got some initial thoughts on that I've been going back and forth with Avi on. We'll talk about Adam Aaron and AMC. We'll talk about Ape, because I know there's a lot of discussion going on about that. And then some folks in the Discord were asking about MMTLP. And I know I've gotten a few comments about that. And I've got a couple of thoughts to share as we get into this evening's chat. So I want to start off by saying I know everybody has a lot of different opinions on things, and we support on this channel anyways, opinions and people's right to express them. I certainly don't agree with everybody, and certainly by the names I get called on Twitter, not everybody agrees with me, and that's cool. But whatever stock you're in, if you're pulling in the same direction, I think we should all do our best to treat each other respectfully and hear the other folks out, because at the end of the day, I think we all want the same thing, to make money. So I don't know how the rest of the night is going to go in the chat. We'll see. But that's kind of how I'd like to set the stage for tonight. You don't need to agree with everything I say, and I'm probably not going to agree with everything you say. And that's all cool. Have a beer. It's the evening. We're just here to have fun and talk some stonks. Casey, how you been? You've been pulling some long hours on live streams.
Yeah, all the time. Doing pretty good. I think one of the most enjoyable things that actually happened today was Pantheon decided to put a little video together for me. I don't know if you've seen it yet or not.
I have
It,
not.
oh man, go to my Twitter account and check out on the page there. It's probably the third or fourth post down. And he had a fun little movie clip that he put together. You know how I like to do Beavis and Butthead impersonations, and man, it was just so funny. Yeah, that's right, David. Go Chiefs! Yeah, that was such a crappy game, man. That was so bad. It was bad around like everywhere. Like there were so many bad calls during that game. Not calls from like the refs necessarily, but bad calls from the coaches on the coaching side. I mean, I just couldn't believe like how much stuff was happening. It made for a wild fourth quarter, but I mean, I don't know. I don't understand some of the calls on both sides of the field. It was just absolutely nutty. Two
How
point
about those?
conversions.
How about those Longhorns this weekend? Did you watch that game or hear the
I
score at
it,
least? We
no.
we uh we obliterated Oklahoma. I forget what the score was, 49-0, something like that. So hook 'em
Isn't that a
horns.
big rival?
Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
Back in the day, I used to make the trip up to Dallas to watch that game and walk around back then you could walk around the streets with a beer in your hand. Well,
Oh wow.
at least in Austin you could. So I don't know if it was legal in Dallas, but we did.
This must have been eons ago.
Yes, yes. Centuries ago. The streets weren't even paved, Casey.
Yeah, cobblestone, right? It's still horse and carriages.
So economic news coming up. We got PPI, I think, tomorrow, and CPI on Thursday.
Yep.
Does that sound right to you,
I think,
Casey?
yeah, I think so. That's great. Yeah.
We got the Fed interest rates. We got some potential decisions November 2nd and December 14th. So I'm very focused on macroeconomics. You guys hear me talk about very few stocks do well in a bear market. I know some people hate it when I say that because you want your stock to go up, damn it. But it is my strong belief that companies that have high PE ratios or negative earnings don't have, they're not really sought after stocks in a bear market. This is kind of a flight to safety, a risk off time frame. So just bear that in mind, whatever stock or stocks you're holding. We've got to get through this bear market. Now, there may be some people that get tripped up, institutions along the way. And I got, gosh, Casey, I don't know how many DMs you got, but I got a bunch with the same question today. If there's a bear market, if there's a market crash, which I do think we're getting closer and closer to a real crash, is that going to cause all of the stocks that people are following to short squeeze? So I'll tell you guys real quick what I generally answer those DMs is that I don't know, based on, if you're asking me, are shorts going to be fucked if the market crashes? If that's how you phrase the question, I'm going to say no. A short is not going to be fucked if the market crashes. Short's going to be in hog heaven as prices fall, because if you're short and the price goes down, you make money. But if you ask me, is a over leveraged or a long over leveraged or hedge fund with crazy derivatives, could they get tripped up in a bear market or a market crash? Absolutely. And now we got this bond stuff tripping people up on top of that, and the derivatives that they have on that. Even though, if you guys saw my tweet, Janet Yellen says we're fine. So that's tonight's news. Janet Yellen says, don't worry.
That makes me so much more comfortable.
But
I'm
so
relieved.
I don't know. My case for short squeezes is I think we're, Casey, I'll let you jump in, but I think that we're more likely to get a short squeeze when money's flooding into the market than when money's fleeing the market, because money coming in is what drives prices up and forces shorts to get out of their position.
So I think one of the problems that I see for hedge funds is that any collateral that they're holding within the market that would be invested in the market as a long position that maintains their positions is going to be losing value as long institutions are pulling their money out of everywhere, right? Everybody's fleeing to safety. So the question is can they pull their collateral and get it moved into things that are safe without ruining the amount of collateral that they're holding to avoid margin calls? If they can't, if they get stuck in those positions and the rest of the long institutions sell everything and move into better positions, they've lost their collateral. They have nothing left at that point, and they're stuck holding the bags on a bunch of stocks that are moving down in price. At which point they're screwed, completely screwed. So
That's what I
that's
call
kind of,
over leveraged hedge
yeah,
funds.
exactly,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
And I think they could get very easily get into a big problem. It just depends on how fast the market moves. If the faster the market moves, which obviously we're seeing the VIX is just showing signs of heavy volatility, and we're seeing it on a daily basis. In fact, I was listening to somebody earlier today in a space call, and they said they've been trading the SPY for like 5 years. I don't think I've ever traded the SPY for 5 years, but well, I can say I know I haven't, but they've seen it for the last 5 years, and they've never seen some of the volatility that they've seen now in the last
Yep.
5 years. And so, I'm sitting here going like, yeah, it's gonna get volatile when it's moving down like this. So, cheers, by the
Yeah.
way.
I'm being a stickler on words, right? If I think it's important that we ask the right questions, or when we're making public statements, that we phrase things the right way. So when we say shorts are going to be screwed in a market crash, well, anyone on Wall Street or in the media is going to tell you that doesn't make sense. So if you say, could a hedge fund be in trouble in a market crash, then you got room to create a a reasonable explanation. Shorts, if it's a pure short hedge fund, they're probably going to be just fine. But as we know, most of them are not just pure short. They have long positions, they got short positions, they got treasuries, they got real estate, they got crypto, they got their hands in a lot of pies. A lot of ways they can get tripped up.
I'm
What
curious to hear
else?
about the bonds. You had mentioned it. Did you already do a video on the bonds already?
I not, I haven't been doing a whole lot of videos lately, just because, I mean, I've talked about them, Casey, on the lives, the UK gilt situation and the derivatives trading that they were doing over there to the name of it is leaving my memory at the moment, but the derivatives trade they took to offset their risk, which is now getting them in trouble. Yeah, I talked about it a week ago. I've already slept a couple nights since then, so we can talk about it again though if you want.
Yeah, I'd love to hear about it because you actually had contacted me. I actually mentioned this on the live stream that you had contacted me to ask me if I'd
Oh yeah,
heard anything about it.
the AMC bond issue.
Yeah, that
Okay,
one.
separate issue.
Sorry, yeah.
So yeah, let's just jump right into that, and then we'll talk about Ape and is Adam Aaron selling it, because that, and why isn't he saying anything? Why is Adam Aaron not saying anything? The AMC bond issue. So Avi, what is Avi's last name? Do you know Avi?
I've heard the name before, yeah.
I don't want to. I'm not trying to throw anyone under the bus. His was just the first good write up that I saw. Avi Harkishan. Shout out to Avi for putting that work together. And there may be other people that are covering this, but I don't spend a ton of time on Twitter. So his was the first one that I came across. And I sent him a note and asked him some questions because the thesis was being put out there by someone else, which then he was reporting on, that hedge funds are supposedly buying up AMC bonds on the cheap, which they are getting cheaper and cheaper, to get some leverage over AMC. And then I also have heard people on Twitter space calls say they're doing it to short AMC. And I'm not going to say I'm the bond expert, right? If you're a bond trader, if you're a bond expert, I can guarantee you know more than I do. I know a passing, knowledge, a layman's knowledge on bonds, because I don't generally trade in bonds, but I know enough about them. I don't really understand the narrative that someone would buy bonds to get leverage over a company, because bonds don't have a vote, and the only bonds that are tradable on an AMC are the very small dollar amount subordinate bonds. So most of our bonds are secure, and then we have a couple of unsecured bonds, and those are the ones that you can go out and buy on the market. So unless I'm missing something, and feel free to tell me in the chat if I am. I don't really understand how you could short a company through bonds, and I don't think that the dollar amount of the bonds is enough. In fact, I have it right here. It is it's like less than 200 million. 250, 300 million roughly. So not a ton. And I know I saw Spence, Froggy Stonks also saying that the bonds are callable in November, which means Adam Aaron could pay them off early. That is true. He could do that. The dollar amount is not that much. But that's where I'm at, Casey. And I think Avi is on the same page with me now. I don't want to speak for him, but in our messages for going back and forth the past couple days, I think he agrees with me that the only bonds they can trade are the subordinated ones and the subordinated debt, and that the dollar amount is relatively low compared to the secured debt. Now, you could say if a company's having to go to the debt market and continually ask for loans, then the lenders could have some sway over the company, right? Hey, we're not going to buy your debt unless you do X, Y, or Z. That's different than saying I'm going to buy up your publicly traded notes that are worth a fraction of a percent of your overall debt. I just don't really see the logic in that argument that bondholders of this subordinated debt would have any leverage over AMC. So that's where I'm at.
Shadow Girl just asked a question there, and I actually don't. I haven't checked anything. I don't actually know what it is that you're talking about. So I haven't looked into that. Tom Zuzolo. It went off the screen, and I have no idea how to.
I got it.
Oh, there we go. I just figured out how to go backwards here.
Please explain SEC approves rule change. It would force retail to route all. Okay. I'm not to slam on anybody, but Tom Zazzulo is one of the very few people I would say you should never watch his videos. Sorry, Tom. I'm just going to be blunt because I'm tired of it. I mean, I get asked about his videos a lot. I have looked into many of them. It's like, I'm going to say this as nice as I can. It's like he reads a 20-page document, picks out one sentence with a keyword that will get views on a video, and makes a video about it. And if you actually read the document or understand what it's talking about, it never, in my experience, has held up to a true due diligence test. So for that reason, Tom is not on my recommended list. In fact, I would unsubscribe from him if I was watching you, if you were subscribed to him. And I will not comment further on his videos because, frankly, again, trying to be respectful, it's a waste of my time to do any more digging on his videos. Not one has ever held up.
So I've been working as far as those bond things go. I'm kind of with you on that one. I really have never heard about bonds. Bonds has never been something as a subject matter that I've gone into in regards to looking up to see what a company has in outstanding bonds, or how they're being used against a company. In regards to looking at technical analysis on a chart, I'm a charting guy. I really like I like looking at charts. I like looking to see what kind of trends I can find in price movements. Um, in fact, there was a link that somebody just sent me to today where they were showing a guy who's doing macro analysis on price movements of stocks, and he did one on AMC today. But I really am kind of a more of a charting kind of guy, and so there. And then I also like to kind of round that out a little bit with like company information as far like what the company's doing, what their quarterly reports look like, and then kind of topping that off with some Ortex data that tells you about like what are the short positions doing, where do they stand, and can any of that correlate over to some of the charting that I'm doing, and show me where there's like specific patterns that are happening. But for the most part, like I have never ever researched into bonds ever on a company before, and how it's impacting it. So that's a new one for me.
So I was talking with Avi too as I was thinking about this for the past couple days. I haven't even looked to see. Okay, one of the guys that's saying this that Avi is getting the information from is, I think, a troll account.
Hmm.
He's a blue check mark, but I think he's literally trolling apes.
Hmm.
He puts out information which sounds good, but might not actually be true. But even if it is true, let's just say it is true. Let's say that hedge funds are buying up AMC's bonds, which maybe they are. I haven't looked that far into it. Don't really care because the amount of the bonds is so small. Why would they be doing that? Well, the coupon rate on the bonds varies from 5.8 to 6.3%, but the effective yield is around 9% right now. And if you hold them to maturity, according to what I looked on Fidelity yesterday, the effective yield would be like 26%, because as interest rates in the market go up, and that makes the price of the bonds go down. So you're buying the bond at a discount. And just maybe, again, I don't want to get too into this because I'm not trying to pawn myself off as a bond expert. But if that is truly the case, as I said earlier in chat, 26% is a banger yield right now. in this kind of market that we're in. So maybe they're just saying, well, you know what? These bonds are at a discount. The hedge funds might be saying these bonds are really at a discount. We don't really think AMC is going out of business, and 26% is a banger. We'll just hang on to them for a couple of years. Maybe. I'm just throwing out theories, and that's part of the discussion for tonight. But let's roll from bonds, and you guys feel free to, Casey, help me keep an eye on the chat if we got bond questions. Let's roll that, because I saw people said in some Twitter space and on Twitter, maybe Adam Aaron is selling APE to call these subordinated debt early in November, the day before AMC's next earnings call. Maybe he will. I mean, it's less than 100, around $100 million is the balance due on that subordinated debt. MC, thank you. Grandpa Barney, also thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Love you. Thank you for helping keep the electric bills paid. But let's talk. Maybe Adam Aaron will call those bonds due. I mean, maybe he'll pay them off. That's cool. But what I think, Casey, and I know you. Hey, Casey, let me ask you something. Do you and I agree on everything?
No.
Do we fight? Do we fight on
It's
stuff?
okay though. I'm all right about it.
I know. I think some people
I don't think so. I like we fight. I mean, we definitely
we
talk things
tussle
out,
though,
yeah.
right?
Oh.
We tussle.
Yeah, but I mean it's normal just talking, right?
Right. I just want to get that out, because I think that some people watching, especially people that don't like you and don't like me, think you and I agree on everything. I can assure you guys,
No.
Casey and I do not agree on a lot of stuff. He fusses at me. I'll say I'll fuss at him back, but it's all good natured. It's sharing of information, and it's trying to get to sharing knowledge from different viewpoints. And I just want to say that the only reason I bring that up, Casey, is I want to go back to what I said at the beginning of this video. It's okay to disagree as long as you can have discussions about differing opinions as an adult and not degrade into name calling, because we all have the same goal. And it really saddens me to see the name calling going on in this community just because someone has a different opinion than you do.
Yeah. But I want to add to that though, because I'm sure you're aware of some of the kind of crazy stuff that's been going on, or maybe you're not aware of what's going on. But there are groups of people out there right now that are trying to push an objective onto the community, and that objective could potentially be very, very harmful to the outcome of this entire play, and could actually put us into a position where this takes a really long time for this to play out. And so I think it's kind of it's weird, because I've listened to some of the things that they're listening, and as well as you have too. I've gone and I've listened to see what it is that they're saying, and the things that they're saying are just so wrong that it just makes me like my head starts spinning and going like they're drawing conclusions that aren't even appropriate conclusions to come up with. For some of the things is like, Adam Aaron's not doing anything, and I'm sitting here going like, what are you talking about? Like, Adam Aaron hasn't done anything. He's created a dividend when he's not supposed to be able to create a dividend. He's given us um, doubled our shares that we have in our accounts. He's given us 6 share counts when they want share counts. He is, and then in order to get the dilution that he needed in order to come up with the ability to pay down the debt, which we've also asked him to do, he's created a way to be able to pay down the debt within the company through APE, right? And not affect the short interest that's open up on AMC. And I'm sitting there going like, how in the world can you be sitting there saying that he's doing nothing for what it is we're trying to do here? And I'm going like, they're throwing these like vote of confidence issues, like they're sitting on some kind of like Star Wars chancellor kind of crap, trying to talk about like we're going to throw them out and do some kind of lawsuit stuff. And it's just like, you guys are yahoos. And I'm going like, I just can't take it anymore. And so I put my foot down, and I'm saying like, no, at some point, there are so many people who are in this community who are invested in this that a lot of people could end up getting hurt from poor decision making within call leaders of the community. I personally don't like the idea that there's leaders in this community at all. I really don't like the idea that it was always about all people equal, right? And so now you've got these people who are saying like it's our way or the highway. We will run you over with our bus no matter what, and you're going to follow what it is that we're going to do. And we don't care what you think. We're just going to do it anyways. And to me, Tony, that's exactly what you're just talking about right there. You said it's about having debate and talking about things and listening to one another and actually trying to come to a resolution about or some kind of agreement about what it is that we're trying to do here.
Yeah.
And when you don't have that, when you don't have that discussion, or you just shut people down and you just start doing things because whatever you just want to, we got problems. So
So I want to talk about that maybe closer to the end of this conversation about what's been going on in the space calls. But first, I want to talk about the what is going on with Ape right now. Maybe you got some thoughts. You and I have not really talked about it. I'm going to share my thoughts, and then I want to hear yours, which are probably different. Then we can talk about the space calls, and then MMTLP, because I think there's a lot of misinformation going on about MMTLP, and then whatever other stocks people want to talk about. Is that okay with you?
yeah, absolutely.
so here's my theory on the Ape dilution, the 425 million. Casey, I don't think I've shared this with you. I have in the Discord, but first of all, as you guys know, if you watched any of my videos in the past couple months, I was not expecting a dilution announcement this early. So I've been kind of scratching my head. Why the hell would he do this? Not very happy about any dilution possibility at this low a price. I'm not happy contemplating that he might be selling shares at $3 or $2 or $1.85. Is he doing it? I don't know, right? No one knows. Let's be clear. What I'm about to say is my opinion and my best guess. And even just saying that, even if I say this is my opinion, I get called horrible names on Twitter, which is fine, right? People don't like it when you have a different opinion. That's fine. Grow up, ladies. Sorry, grow up, and you animals. Someone got mad that I said ladies less. Grow up, you animals. Is that your word, Casey? Animals? Yeah, filthy animals.
Oh yeah, filthy apes.
Filthy apes. So
Yeah.
what I think is happening, this is as my evolving thought process about what the hell is going on. Or it could be he just filed paperwork to dilute a year from now when it's over $20. That could be one theory. That is one theory. Could be another theory that I hear Spence talk about, that he's auctioning it off to the highest bidder for $15, $20, $100 a share, in some secret back room, even though people could go in the market and buy it. There's apparently a back room where people are paying a premium price. But I think, and that's a theory too, and maybe that's happening. We'll know. Everything will be revealed in just a couple weeks. And if you don't follow me on Twitter, I showed you from back in January what the press releases and the 10Qs will look like. You'll see exactly what they sold and when and what they got for it revenue wise. That will all be disclosed, and we'll be able to backwards compute exactly what price they were selling it for. So we can have all of our theories. Let's just all be nice to each other. No one knows until the official announcement comes out, and it will be coming soon. It'll either say nothing was sold on the 10Q, or it'll show how many shares were sold out of 425 million and what they got for it. And we can compute the share price. So hold your horses. He's not going to give you a daily update on Twitter. He's not going to give you a daily press release. The market cap, the market cap and the free float are not going to be updated because the exchanges don't know till AMC tells them how many were sold. So just everybody be patient. This is not companies don't give daily updates or weekly updates when a share offering is made. They typically do it when it's done. They'll do a press release, or at the 10Q, they're required, the quarterly meeting, they're required to give an update. So you'll get some info in a couple weeks. If you want to keep bugging Adam Aron, banging your head into a wall for no reason, hey, that's your prerogative, but I doubt that you're going to get an answer. And I know some people are saying there's a quiet period. I see a lot of quiet period links being pushed around, which I don't agree with, frankly. People put the IPO, a new initial public offering, 40-day quiet period. This is not an IPO, guys. Now, there are communication regulations from the SEC about what can be said before, during, and after an IPO or a secondary offering, but I'm not going to portray myself as an attorney expert on SEC regulations. So until we have one, or until I have time to go get an exact answer, I'm not going to tell you that there is a quiet period. I have said that there might be one. They might have some limitations on what they can say. They can talk about normal course of business, but I don't know that he can say anything. I don't know that he can't. I just don't know that answer about quiet period. But I see a lot of bad links being thrown out there, mostly about IPOs, and that definitely is not what this is. So let's not be Twitter attorneys unless you're actually an attorney and you know what you're talking about. And those investment acts and all of the rules and judgments since 1933 and 1940, there's a bunch of them. I doubt that most of you putting links out on Twitter are legal experts. I'm certainly not. So let's just take a chill pill, and we'll find out in a few weeks. And if you want to keep bugging Adam Aron, by all means, that's your right. And I have reached out to John Merriweather to see if he can shed any light on what they're allowed to say and what they're not allowed to say. Maybe some of y'all have too. I haven't heard back from him yet. But getting back to, what is Adam Aron doing? What
Wait
do
a
I
minute.
think he's
So
doing?
you said you sent an email?
To
When
John
was that?
Merriweather. Yeah,
When was that?
today.
Okay.
And he's usually pretty good at responding. So maybe he will.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
he won't. Unlike GameStop, which still has not responded to my email about their stock split. 3 months now.
Mhm.
John usually responds. What do I think Adam Aron's doing? Why are they diluting? Do I think they're diluting? Here's what I think in a nutshell. I think that I know, looking at the debt here, they've got debt coming due in 2023, 505 million. They've also got the subordinated debt that we were talking about, the ones that you can buy in the open market. That's 4.8 million due in 2024. And let's just use 425 million shares and pick a number, $2 a share. That's roughly what, Casey? 800, let's just say 800 million
400.
bucks. Yeah, 850
Yeah.
million, right?
Hey, real quick, I just want to. I'm thinking I'm buffering here a little bit, but I just want to real quick on Dan Spencer's comment. He says, "How come my broker shows a pref symbol against my original ape shares, but not my newly bought ones?" My best guess to that is likely that your preferred shares that you originally bought are probably attached as seen as being part of the original dividend that was given or distributed from your shares, and should have a different taxation purpose than new shares that you buy, because the old shares, the preferred shares that you got as a dividend, would have had the same taxation exemptions attached to those as you had from your original shares. So whatever new shares you purchase, they probably need to be able to identify the difference between new shares that you purchase and shares that were not part of the dividend split. And that would be my best guess, but I don't know the true answer. I would always suggest that call your broker. If you don't know what something is, call your broker, ask them, and find out. But that would be my
Yeah,
guess.
I don't know the answer to that either, Dan. I would say the same thing. Ask your broker. So
Sorry to interrupt you.
no, that's fine. And I put Who is that? The Dan Man? I put Dan Man's question about price arbitrage so I don't forget it, but we're going to finish talking about what's going on with the ape shares right now. Let's just say he were able to get an average price of $2 a share, right? We know that when it came out, it was around $3, right? That the dilution, and now we're like $1.85, $1.90, something. I didn't even look at the price today. I don't know what we closed at. But let's just say for this example that it was $2 a share, 850 million bucks. That is more than enough to pay off the 2023 debt and the 2024 subordinated debt, and put several hundred million dollars in the bank. And there's no more debt due then until 2025, probably middle of 2025. So let's just say he is selling them at $2, $1.85, whatever. That buys them 2 years of breathing room for the economy to improve, and it takes debt off the books and improves the fundamentals of the company and puts some cash in the bank. And so that could be what he's doing. And why, what's his other option? He's got debt coming due, 515 million in 2023. What are his options? Raise money, earn money from ticket sales. That's not happening to the extent that they need, not even close. Or go refinance the debt or get new debt, which is probably not a great thing to be trying to do in a rising interest rate environment. Although it is the Odeon foreign currency stuff that's due in 2023. So maybe he is doing some of that. Maybe it's all wrapped together. I'm just theorizing, like talking out loud. If he's selling it, why would he be doing it? Maybe to buy himself 2 years of breathing room. That's my theory. So I do think that he is selling it. I could be wrong. I don't have any evidence. None of us will until the next quarterly meeting here in a few weeks. But if I was Adam Aron, I'd be probably sweating, having just, not even 8 months to pay off 500 million bucks. And I'd probably be working my ass off to figure out a way, no matter how distasteful it is to the company or shareholders, to make sure that debt gets either refinanced or paid off. Maybe he's going to sell some ape and pay it off. That's my thoughts. What do you think, Casey?
I mean, I don't know. I hope he really hasn't sold for $2 a share all 425 million. It would seem like an awful waste. I mean, he does have another additional 4 billion shares that he can convert eventually at some point. But I mean, it's still, and he's got what, another 40 50 million shares sitting in that he hasn't registered yet. I don't know, man. I tend to think that I would hope that he would put in like small quantities, like 10 to 30 million shares at a time, and try to 10 to maybe 30 million shares a quarter, and allow the market to kind of absorb those very slowly over a quarter. 10 million shares a month, and and as the market absorbs that, price starts rising, and then he can start getting more and more money for each batch that he puts out there. But I don't know what's going on in his head, man. I really don't know what's going on in his head, and like you said, we'll find out in the report for sure what's going on.
If you look at the tweet I put out yesterday showing the 200 million plus shares that they sold end of 2020 into early 2021, they were selling them probably every day, but definitely every month. They knocked out 200 million shares in a month.
Yeah.
So, and I don't think they're doing that all in one day. They trickle them out. It's to try and not impact the price. But it is to get to Dan Man's question, and a lot of the DMs that I was getting today, if they are trickling them out 3-5 million a day, whether it's at the market, in the lit exchange, off exchange, it's going to have an effect of taking away it's going to add selling pressure. It's going to drive the price down. So
I'm
that
pulling
could
up your
be
tweet.
one reason. That could be one reason why APE is falling faster than AMC. I mean, for me, everything lines up. As much as I hate to contemplate him doing it, I'm going to fall back on what I said a couple of weeks ago. What I see over and over, and everyone always hates it when I say this. If a company files paperwork, you should take them at their word. People hated it when I said Ryan Cohen already sold all his shares and his options. No, Tony, it's impossible. He would never do that. Oh man. But you know, just wait a day or two, and sure enough, yep, he did. He sold them all the day the paperwork was filed. It took a couple days for the reporting of it to catch up. So I think that we should take them at their word. I think it's fine to be hopeful that they're not doing it. I certainly hope that they're not. I don't want to contemplate 425 million KC of APE being sold at $2. I would hate that. But
Yeah, and actually, I'm
I'd
looking at
also
the
hate us to hit next year and not be able to pay $505 million back.
I'm looking at what you'd posted from the sales of 2020, and he did 15 million in September. October he did 15 million. November he did 20 million, and then in December they did 200 million.
Yeah.
200 million in December.
Yep. And that was, we were at a
yeah,
couple dollars a share on AMC back in that time frame.
but I'm gonna go ahead and tell this is my opinion, but the reason price started rising in January had nothing to do with the fact that there was dilution that occurred
Yes.
in any
That
of
is
those months.
the biggest thing that I don't like that Adam Aaron is saying. Two things. Number
Yeah.
one, that dilution caused the price to go up. I call bullshit on that.
Yep.
And number two, I call bullshit on issuing the APE dividend will give us a share count. I call bullshit on that. I don't buy that. Never have. I mean,
Yeah.
it could have theoretically exposed some naked shorts, as my buddy CSI likes to call them, but it didn't really. Nothing got exposed, and so if you were hoping that it was going to be a share count, well, that was not. Nothing came of that. So those two things I call bullshit on. Dilution is typically does not cause price to go up. I think there were other things. We see this a lot, right, guys? In a lot of tickers that you guys are following, they dilute into a price run up because they know they can. That's how it works. They know retail's interested. They know retail's bidding something up. All of these momentum plays that everybody's playing, soon as the price gets run up a little bit, what is the first thing they do? Dilution notice. What? Where did that come from? Surprise, motherfuckers. Get used to it. That is their MO. You're going to see that your entire career in Wall Street. So start expecting it like I expect it. Then you won't get so mad at me when I tell you dilution's coming. Or guess what? Warrants are coming. I don't know why what's that other one? GTII. Everybody's so hyped about the warrants. And Casey, I know you don't follow other stocks, but GTII recently run up from 60 cents to $9 and dropped back down to $5. And the daily volume is crashing on GTII, but it's been holding $5. And I'm very scared for anybody in GTII right now. The price being flat. Scarlett just got home from yoga. Do you want to come show off your yoga outfit? The price is holding, but the volume's falling. This is a bearish signal. And we got warrants about to be thrown into the mix, which, guys, is dilution. I don't know why Lou is so excited about GTII warrants. I would be frankly nervous about it. Warrants are basically trading a long-term option. That's what I'll call it for the sake of this discussion, for shares. So you're going to add a bunch of new shares into the mix. But people are excited about it. We'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm getting off topic of finishing up the ape discussion. We talked about, I think that Adam, I just wanted to say, I think like in late 2020, early 2021, he's selling a little bit of ape every day, on or off the market. I don't know. It is pushing the price down, along with a lot of other things, bear market, shorts, influencers telling people to sell ape. This is the perfect scenario. If you're short, everything's lining up to make it a great short play. And they're the fourth pillar. You got the bear market, you got influencers telling people to sell ape, you got dilution, and the shorts are piling on those other three things. And all of that is what's making ape go down. But the good news in my story is, when the dilution's done, if there's a good press release, oh yeah, we did dilute. We sold 200 million up until the beginning of November, or we sold 400 million, whatever the number is. But we paid off all the 2023 and 2024 debt. You could very well then see a bump in the price, because that would, by the Warren Buffett definition, be called good dilution. I know some people get really angry when I talk about good dilution, but if you improve shareholder value by the way you use the money, it can be good dilution. Now this is debatable. This is just my opinion. I'm just using a buzzword. But if they pay off the debt with that money, then you could see a little bump, and that is not unheard of. You could see a little bump in the price from the good news, and from the selling of the ape. The dilution has stopped, so now you're back to more natural price action.
All right, Tony. Breaking news.
Breaking news. Breaking
news. In September and October, and I haven't verified either of the other two dates yet. Oh, no. Hold on a second. I only see an 8K for October. Hold on a second here. Where was the September one? Oh, I think I closed the September one out. Hold on a second. Let me just make sure I've got the right ones here. But it looks like there's an 8K for September and October.
I will.
Yep, here it is. So 8K filing on September 24th of 2020 that says that they sold up to 15 million shares on that day. It says on September 24th, AMC Entertainment Holdings Incorporated entered into an equity distribution agreement with Citigroup Global Markets Incorporated and Goldman Sachs and Company LLC as sales agents to sell up to 50 common stock, par value 0.01 per share of the company from time to time through an at-the-market offering program. So they did file the day that they made the sale, or the approval to sell those shares.
What was the date on that?
September 24th. And was the filing date for that. And then the filing date for the October one was October. The filing was on October 13th, but the actual documentation says that they did not sell until October.
Was that for ape? Is that what you're telling me? There's filings?
No, this is for AMC. These are their filings for October 9th.
What year?
September 2020.
Oh, 2020. Okay.
So I guess what I'm trying to say is that he hasn't sold anything yet, or they would have filed.
So if I'm not mistaken, Casey, there were several offerings made in 2020 of smaller units, and then the final one was 200. So
yes,
I think that when they finish if they have a prospectus for 20 million and they fulfill it, then they file a 8K and say they're done. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah. So what you're saying is that so anytime they do an offering, right? I've read this before in the rules. The rules for filing of 8Ks for an offering has to be done within 4 days of completion of the offering. So if they've started the selling on whatever day it is, right? Within 4 business days of that offering, the completion of that offering, they have to file this report. And so the smaller offerings, the 215 million offerings in September and October, have the filings done on, it looks like, the same No, sorry. The September one was filed on the same day that they actually did the same exact day that they did the selling of the offering, and the other one was the selling occurred on. Hold on a second here. I gotta find it. I know I had it just a minute ago. Filing was on October 13th, but I think that I'm trying to find it again where it said the actual share number that were sold.
So what
I
I've
don't
been
see it.
saying on Twitter is when they finish selling or on the 10Q, whichever comes first, which, is the quarterly meeting in early November, whichever comes first, you will get a number. I don't think that they're going to get 425 million sold before the first week in November.
I don't know, man. These 8Ks should be filed though. They should be filing 8Ks if they're putting out distribution of shares though. Like
They will
that's
file
I'm,
them when when the prospectus is complete. They'll file them. So that's what I was saying. That in 2020, late 2020, there were several offerings, several different
yeah,
ones.
right. Let me go to the 2021 and see if I can find anything an 8K for 2020.
All right.
In December.
And while you're looking that up, to finish off Dan Man's question, what is with the arbitrage? Why such a big difference between the two? So that is a good question. As you guys know, I said when Ape came out, even before it came out, that I thought that they would be equally valued by Wall Street, but we also did not anticipate a bunch of people coming out and saying sell Ape, thinking that they were going to avoid dilution, which they're not by moving to AMC. But we also did, the second thing we didn't anticipate was dilution announcement this early, which has added even more negative pressure to Ape. So I still think that ultimately over time, I guess I got to extend my time frame. Let's check back at the end of this year. I think that at some point, Ape and AMC are going to hit some form of parity. But there's a lot of extra selling pressure on Ape right now, and the shorts for sure don't want the price of Ape to be high, because that just hands more money to Adam Aaron if he really is selling dilution right now. So that is my current thoughts on that. That is opinion. Someone is asking
So there's
again about the
two
quiet
8K
period.
filings. There's two 8K
For,
filings in December. One of them was on the 11th of December, and the other one was on the well, they're both on the 11th of December. But the dates that they actually say that the events occurred, there was 178 million shares that were sold on December 11th. According to this, it says that they started the process of selling those shares on December 11th. And then on the other one filed on December 11th, it says that they went into a contract where they gave Mudrick Capital 13.7 million
right.
shares, and then there was like
There was a lot of shit going on, KC.
8.2 million shares.
There was a lot of shit going
Yeah.
on late 2020. The total shares into the market between end of 2020 and January 2021 is 300 million. If you look at my tweet, it actually breaks them down in bullet points 11 through 15.
Yep.
And they talk about the at the money. In October, they had an at the money program to sell 15 million shares. Then there was a separate program in November to sell 20 million. And then in December through January, there was a third program to sell 200 million. So that's three separate offerings. Plus there was the Mudrick shit going on. So the total was around 300 million. That's why you're seeing multiple 8Ks.
I still think that we're going to see an 8K first before we see the quarterly if they do sell foreign.
If they sell all of them, we will.
We don't have to agree.
Yeah, I think if they sell all 425, we will definitely see one. But I don't think that they have a chance to sell them 425 million without cratering the stock price. I don't think they'll do that.
I think the definite answer is that we'll find out something in the quarterly
Yeah,
for
be
sure.
patient. Be
Yeah.
patient.
Yeah. Yeah.
About the quiet period, I peed in Kenny's pool. I would what I said earlier, just to grab everybody who's just joining in. I said none of us are SEC regulation attorneys, and unless you are, you probably shouldn't be posting quiet period links from Investopedia, because I'm seeing a lot of links being posted that aren't really related to a secondary offering. So I invite any stock or investment attorneys to reach out to me. And I've reached out to AMC, and I'll reach out to some attorneys if I need to, but I think there's a lot of bad links being put out that may not really be relevant as far as quiet periods, where this is not an IPO. So if you're posting a link to the quiet period for an IPO, I'm already going to call bullshit on that. I could be wrong. I'm not an attorney, but I would just say, let's not be Twitter attorneys unless you really know what you're talking about. I do think that there are some SEC communication rules before, during, and after IPOs or secondary offerings. I'm not going to claim to have read all of the investment acts and all of the rules that and the rulings that have been done since 1933 or whatever that govern that. So we need to ask an expert and not try and Investopedia it ourselves. That's all. I do think that they have some limitation on what they can say, but that is just an opinion. So I think that they're selling. Ape KC thinks that they're not selling. Is that a fair summary?
Yeah.
And we'll find out in a few weeks. And
I think so.
I already said on Twitter to all the people that are yelling at me and calling me names, I will be covering it live, and I will do a live apology to all of you if I'm wrong for being
You don't need
wrong.
to apologize.
No. I want to. That's how
I mean,
transparent I want to be, because people think I'm being a paid troll or a shill. I'm just saying, based on experience and based on what I've seen, I think that that's what's happening. Now, I could be wrong. I'll say I'm wrong live on camera at the quarterly meeting, but I want you guys that are calling me names to come also be willing to apologize for all the nasty stuff that was said, so that it can be a fair exchange. One of us will apologize to the other. Now, I haven't called anyone names, but I know you all want to hear me say I was wrong, and so you can mark it on your calendar. So be there or be square. We'll be doing it live.
is it
I'm
that
pretty
bad?
sure no one will show up to say that they apologize except me.
I gotta go into your messages and see. Like, I didn't realize that you were getting this much hate.
Oh yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And that's really, whatever, I don't care, Casey. It's just some nobody I don't know on Twitter. I don't care what anybody says on Twitter. But I do want to just say to everybody, we all have the same goal still. Who the fuck cares who's right about if he's selling it or not? It is irrelevant. We're all in a play to make money. It's just opinion until we know the answer. So lighten up, Francis. Good Lord. Let people talk. Let's share opinions. Let's have discussion. That's the point of social media, not to obliterate each other with insults. I don't do that. If you're going to insult me, I'm probably just going to ignore you, because I really don't care. It's I get a laugh. We might laugh at it in the Discord, and then we go on about our day. So Dan Man says, what happens if Ape actually trades for under $1? Does it get delisted? So Dan, because it's a preferred share and it's a preferred equity unit, I'm not going to say I have the definitive answer for you. But I would imagine that based on NYSE rules, if it goes under a buck for, I think it's 30 days, that they could issue a delisting notice. I don't know that for a fact, but that is my current understanding, that if we go under $1, we could get a delisting notice, at which point it has to go under a buck for 30 days, if I'm not mistaken. And if that is the case, we get a delisting notice. AMC has 14 days to file an answer. Like, they got a plan. If you don't file an answer, you're automatically delisted. You can file a plan. That plan might be something I don't know about, or it might be a reverse split, but I'm not going to spend too much time worrying about that until we're at a buck.
Tony R is asking what the short interest is on RMED. It's currently at 8.02% of the free float.
RMED, is that 0.0002 stock?
I have no idea. I wasn't even looking at price. I was just looking at what he was asking for. I see it sitting at close with $6.12.
Oh, okay, different one. I was getting confused. There's so many little momentum trades that everybody's working on right now.
Just trying to help out with answering the question.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that, because it's hard for me to keep up with all of them. Can it be says, did the frogman go off the deep end or what? No. I mean, I have one of the frogs blocked because he was blowing up my DMs with insults, which I just don't tolerate that. The other one, Spence and I chat. He knows I don't agree with him. I know he doesn't agree with me. That's cool. He's never once been rude to me, and I have not been rude to him. We voice opinions, we disagree, and we move on like adults. But if you're going to insult me like the other one did, you're going to be blocked, because I don't have time for that. If I would block Scarlett if she insulted me on Twitter. That's how serious I am about that. If you don't believe me, ask her. Ain't nobody got time for drama. I'm trying to get work done here and make some money. So, but yeah, there are many people I interact with on a daily basis that don't agree with me, and I don't agree with them, and we all get along just fine. The ones that are going to be emotional about it or insulting, you're going to be blocked. We're trying to be grown-ups here. Am I original recipe or crispy guy at KFC? Crispy all the way, Dan.
Is that extra crispy or original?
Crispy. Original is the soft one, Casey.
Oh, okay.
I like crispy.
Okay.
All right. Do we want to talk about MMTLP real quick, or do we want to go into the AMC Ape space calls? I can knock out the MMTLP real quick. Anybody care about MMTLP? I'm only bringing it up because I'm getting a lot of questions on it, and it's been simmering for a couple weeks, and I know people on my Discord are putting money on the line on it, unbeknownst to me. And many here would like an MMTLP rundown. All right, I'm gonna say this, guys. Before all the hate starts coming my way, I have not been covering Meta or MMTLP for months. I've not been doing months of due diligence on them. What I have done is looked at the next bridge S1 and done a read through of it and a cursory overview of what's going on. We got Meta, we got MMTLP, which is the preferred stock, which was something that you guys got. What was it? Torchlight or something. They threw off some shares as a preferred stock, MMTLP. And now this next bridge, correct me, feel free to jump in the chat if I got any of this wrong. Next bridge is filed at S1 prospectus saying that your MMTLP is going to be converted 1-for-1. Your preferred stock of Meta, MMTLP, is going to be converted to next bridge. Do I have that right? Just want to make sure before I go into part 2 that you guys we're all copacetic with part 1. So there is this pending S1. All right. Future Blitz is saying I'm correct. I have read through these documents several times, a couple weeks ago and then again today, and I still came to the same answer. So your MMTLP is going to convert to NextBridge. And I know what the YouTubers are saying, that the shorts are going to be forced to cover, and it's going to $60 or $300 or $1,000, whatever they're saying. This is a $3 stock, which is slightly over $4 a day. Based on the asset value, blah, blah, blah. Guys, I invited Sufyan on here to talk about accounting, but there's several ways to value a company. Number one is like what people are willing to pay for it, but number two is based on earnings or book value. Two different ways to value a stock. Earnings, based, the price, the PE ratio. People assign a value to future earnings. That's why we look at PE ratio. Or if there are no earnings, you might look at book value, which roughly would be assets minus liabilities. And you can generally think that if you have no other way to value a stock, you could look at book value. If this company's got a shit ton of assets and no liabilities, it's got value, right? Well, if they're telling you on YouTube that the book value of this company, and I heard someone say this today, is $60 based on all their assets. She didn't say book value. I'm throwing that in. She's saying that based on all the assets, it's worth $60 a share. Wall Street, for fucking sure, would know that and not allow the stock to be trading at $4. That's an arbitrage opportunity. It would be bid up to at least book value. Anyone who's followed stocks, feel free to tell me I'm full of hot air.
Can I have the ticker?
MMTLP. And MMAT is the main stock, MMAT. I don't want to talk to Houston Wade, Mike. I've seen all the videos. I don't agree with any of them. There's 20 people covering MMAT. I'm surprised I don't agree with any of them. So here's my take on what's going to happen. Your MMTLP is going to run up because you're given bad information by YouTubers. That's going to make the price run up. Make your money. Get the fuck out before the S1 is filed, because it's going to crash, and then you're going to hold on for 15 days while everybody in the chat room tells you to hold because you're just being tricked by the shorts and the hedge funds, and you're going to watch that price bleed out. And then NextBridge is not a tradable stock, so you're going to be holding stock in a company which has nowhere to trade. So I say if you got in early, make some money on it, but I might be wrong, right? Everyone on YouTube disagrees with me. That's fine. They usually do. I've been called every name in the book by every small YouTube channel that does bad DD. This might be the one time I'm wrong. But I think that it's going to run up based on retail FOMO. The S1 is going to get filed. The price is going to plummet, and then it's going to continue to drop every day because you're going to be given a stock, NextBridge, which you can't trade. And now they're also saying, but Tony, the shorts got to cover. They're heavily shorting MMTLP. The shorts do not need to cover. How do I know? Because I went and asked somebody who is a well-known shorter on Wall Street. The shorts absolutely do not need to cover just because the company is going private. They can pay whatever the current cash value is to the lender. There's no need for them to cover. I call bullshit on every YouTuber saying that. The S1 was filed, Mike, but it hasn't been completed. It's not been executed, right? The day that it's executed and they give you a date for when you're going to get your NextBridge, whatever, if that happens in aftermarket, I think you're going to see. This is my guess, not financial advice. You guys do whatever you want, listen to whoever you want. I'm just going on record. And again, I could be wrong. I think it's going to plummet once that S1 is filed. And maybe I'll be wrong. We'll see. I have a pretty good track record of not misjudging these things. So in the meantime, knock yourself out, make money. And I'm going to be watching it. It's going to be a fun one to watch. This is not a common scenario. It's difficult for everybody to assess exactly what's going to happen. Bailey says it's based on oil now and for the next few years, but Bailey's, I would say the price right now is also based on that. The price of anything right now is based on already the future. So you're not going to magically be given a $300 price in a transition to a different stock ticker based on future oil expiration. The price is the price. Everything's already valued in. The only reason this stock is going to run up is retail FOMO, my opinion. And if you think that shorts need to cover because NextBridge is going to transition to NextBridge, I would tell you, go talk to someone on Wall Street like I did that short stocks and ask them the question. I already know that the answer is no. The shorts do not need to cover. And that is from someone I know who is a well-known stock shorter on Wall Street. So GTII, Debbie, and then we'll talk about AMC space calls. GTII was a great play from 60 cents to $5. If retail piles in, yes, you guys could drive it up more. But I'm watching the volume every day decline, and the price is not really moving. And that to me is a red flag warning signal that the drop is about to happen. So I don't know what's going to happen with GTII, but that's what I think is likely to happen. Is it's likely to fall very soon. I could be wrong. There's been some people would say, Tony, this is just consolidation. Might be. But if I had to put money on it, I think it's about to drop. The retail excitement is wearing out and the volume is dropping off. Mr. Rodriguez says, Tony, you're behaving a little bit arrogant. I don't know if that's a joke or if you're serious. I just speak facts. It's no arrogant. There's nothing arrogant. I just speak plainly. When I speak plainly, people perceive that as arrogance. I've done homework on stuff. I'm speaking my opinion, and you can hold me accountable for what I say. No one ever holds the people who get stuff wrong accountable. You go back and watch their videos over and over and over and over and over and over on these shitty little stocks, and they're wrong almost every time. They're right. They get the retail FOMO. They get the momentum going. Beautiful. Play the momentum. I do it too. But I don't believe them on their price targets or their bad DD. So I get out early and lock in gains. That's what I want you guys to do. Stop listening to these people who don't know what they're talking about. That's not arrogance. That's trying to save you from being those people on the forums watching it bleed out for 15 days, saying it's bound to go up. This is just a trick. And then all of a sudden it's delisted and you got nothing. It's not arrogance. I'm trying to be helpful. Casey, space calls, AMC space calls. I'll let you kick it off.
Toxic as hell.
Woo, them's fighting words, Casey.
They are. I mean, they're really super toxic. You got to be really careful about who you're going in to listen to. So here's the deal. On Twitter is, and I'm going to start off with Musk, right? Elon Musk decided he was going to go buy the company. sorry, I'm not looking at the camera now. I need to look at you, but Elon Musk decided he was going to go buy the company. He gets in there, he starts looking at all the stuff that's going on in there, and he's like, and I actually feel he actually already knew this was going on, but seeing as how his company's been shorted quite a bit.
Did I
Oh,
do
you
that?
lost me. Did I? Yeah.
All right, you're back.
All right. So Elon Musk, he goes in to buy the company. He says, yeah, except for the fact that you guys got a lot of bots sitting in here, and I'm tired of this shit. You need to clean this out before I buy you up. And Twitter's like, oh no, we can't do that. There's no way we're going to be able to do that. That's there's nothing like that happening here. We don't know what you're talking about. And I'm just going to sit here and tell you guys that Twitter is running some really crazy algorithms that are going on over there, and they really try to generate um, the ability to be able to control narratives. And that's part of the reason why Donald Trump decided to start Truth Social, and a lot of the reason why Elon wants to buy Twitter in the first place, I think. And so a lot of people have been having, or we've been noticing that there's these particular things that are happening within Twitter where, for example, uh, if you go to watch a particular space call, you go in there. Well, everybody gets kind of notified that you're in that place. They don't necessarily technically notify you, but everybody knows that who's following you finds out that you're in this particular room, and so people start piling in. Well, if you just want to go watch something just because you just want to watch something or hear something on a topic, if you're an influencer, especially, people just start piling in there because they think that you're there because it has something that they're going to want to know about, and not necessarily the case. Maybe you're just there to do some research, and so everybody ends up piling into this room and everything. And it's and then on top of that, we've got these bots that come in there, and they're not even bots, they're shills. They're shill bots that come in, especially for stocks like AMC, and they start just shilling on the stock, and it's absolutely crazy. And they actually have bots that go in and record what's being said inside of the Twitter place. um, all kinds of crazy stuff is happening over there, so you got to be really, really super careful about where it is that you're going, what you're doing, because people will tend to follow where it is that you're going. So if you're heading over to, and I've done this before. I've done this before where I will go into a known shill topic room, space room, where they're talking about something against AMC, right? And they're just trashing on, always talking about really crappy things, and and potentially even making up lies as they're going along. And I just want to hear the other side of the story. I'm trying to just understand where it is that they're coming from to see if I can get an idea of what it is. I'm just doing research, right? Well, next thing we know, there's like tons of people that are just like piling into this room to listen to what it is they have that they're saying, and there may be people who don't really know what's going on with the play, and now all of a sudden they're being influenced by the people who are in these space calls, trying to influence the people who you didn't really want to be there in the first place, but they're showing up because you're there. And so it's just kind of like this. It's a little bit of a hot mess. And I don't know, man. It's kind of crazy. Um, you can go through, like, for me, when I get people who try to follow me on Twitter, very oftentimes I'll just verify that they're not a bot, because sometimes bots will try to follow you just so that they can get other bots that will follow you, and suddenly you have all these bots following you that don't even match. In fact, I just heard one guy say tonight that he had a loss of 900 followers tonight alone, because apparently uh, Elon came to an agreement with Twitter to whatever, get rid of the bots or something like that. So they're getting rid of the bots now, and so apparently people are losing followers left and right.
Yeah, I've been
900
hearing that.
followers. 900 followers in a single day just gone. Like, that's a lot of bots. I mean, I don't even have that many people following me. I'm just gonna see how many I have. I because I don't even really get. But let's see what I have. I've only got 2,395 followers. That's almost a third. That's more than a third. That would be more than a third of my followers just gone. And it's not like I would care. I don't really care if how many followers I have, but it's kind of one of those things where it's like, why is it that there's so many people that are following what what is it that's trying to be achieved, and what's truly the objective behind what's happening out there. And so when we start diving into who these bots are related to or who they're connected to, you start to go down this rabbit hole of discovery of what's actually happening. And I'm not going to get into that, but there is some crazy stuff that's happening out there. Really, really crazy
I
stuff.
uh, I totally understand where you're coming from, and I don't disagree with you that maybe by me being in a call, it could lead other people into the call. But I think most people that follow me on Twitter already are kind of a fact-based audience anyways, because I'm pretty hard to follow on Twitter. Like most people hate me on Twitter because I don't do clickbait, I don't do hopium, I don't do uh, what's the word, catalyst of the week, right? I talk about market basics, things that I can put my hands on, data, and that's not always popular. But if I'm in a call, whether I agree or disagree with the host, I'm there to hear what's being said. Just like sometimes I go to YouTube channels that hate AMC or whatever stock to hear what's being said. Like I think that is part of being an informed investor. And so for myself, I can't speak for anyone that's following me into a call. Don't think I'm in a call because I agree with it. I'll just say that. But I'm in a call to hear what's being said, to learn, to hear another side, just like politics, finance, anytime there's two different opinions, I want to hear both and then make my own decision. We always say do your own DD, right? But
Yeah, well,
you should not follow someone into a call, any influencer, thinking just because they're there that information being passed out is correct. That much I agree with you, Casey.
and
And
that's the terrible part too, right? Like sometimes I'll go in there, and if what's being said is so wrong, I'll ask to come to the top so I can speak and challenge it, and people won't even be allowed to come up to speak. And so now you're put in a situation where like you can't go up there and challenge what's being said and prove that it's wrong. And that's the real travesty of all this, is that we now have people who are listening to people where they think this is the authority figure because Casey was in there. If Casey's in there, it must be right, because he's listening to it and he never got up there and challenged what it was that was said.
yeah,
So if he's not challenging what's being said, it must be true. And that's the general perception, but nobody really knows that you're just there fact finding, or you're trying to do your due diligence of trying to understand what the other side thinks, or
yeah.
whatever it may be.
I I use my platform to say what I think. I'll either post it on Twitter and not tag anybody because I'm not on Twitter to antagonize or start fights or argue. I'll post my thoughts, and if you want to know my thoughts, you follow me on Twitter. I'm not going to go into a space call and cause drama. I might go in and uh, say hello or answer questions, but I'm not going in there to fight because no one ever changed anybody's mind on Twitter or Facebook. Just doesn't happen, right? Whether it's finance or politics, you're not going to change someone's mind if they've already made it up. But I want to gather the information and then make my own assessment and then cover it on my platform, whether it's Twitter or YouTube, like we're doing tonight. I'm going to tell you what I really think here on my channel tonight because this is my channel and this is where I get to share my thoughts. And
I just want to. Oh, sorry.
I'm not going to disrupt a host's. I'm thankful that they're allowing me to listen, and most of the time they let me talk because I'm not there arguing or calling people names. I'm just sharing a couple thoughts. But whether I agree or disagree, I want to get the info because I know people are going to ask me, and then you guys come here if you want to ask me my thoughts. I'll gladly always tell you my thoughts without varnish, without no sugarcoating. I will tell you exactly what I think, but I'm not going to start a fight on a space call because that's, you know, I'm not. I don't want to alienate people. I think that we all have the same goal. We have different paths to get there.
So I guess from my perspective, the one problem with that, and it's only because I'm starting to take a little bit of a harder stance on it, is that there could be paths that we could be taking that could be hurting us really badly. And
Yeah, I
yeah,
don't disagree.
yeah.
There's a lot of stuff where I'm listening on the call and I'm yelling in the room. I was like, good thing my mic's not on. Like, what the fuck are these people talking about?
And so
I
and that's the problem is that, you know, it's really for me, I feel like, Tony, and I'm not placing this on you, but for me, I feel like I have an obligation to people who are new to the community to make sure that I don't lead them astray to people who are not good for the community or supporting the ideas that are bad for what it is that we're trying to accomplish. And so I've got to be really, really careful about what it is that I'm doing, what I'm saying, where I'm at. It's a whole nother level. I hate it, man. I hate I wasn't designed to be a YouTuber, man. I really wasn't designed to do this. And so yeah, here I am deciding like I have to. I'm the kind of guy that loves to sit in the dark corner of a room and watch everybody just be themselves. And now I can't do that. Now I've got to be careful about where I go, what I do, what I say, what I wear, how I say it, and it pisses me off a little bit because it's like, damn it, why can't I just be old Casey? You know, I want to be I want to be natural Casey, and I don't want to be stiff neck Casey, you know. And it's like, you know, but I'm just saying, some of those people are brand new. They have no idea what's going on. They're scared right now,
yes.
especially because price is down where it is. And people who are scared are more likely to do irrational things. And more than ever is now the time where we need to make sure that we are talking about things that are solid. What I love about you, Tony, is that you take the time to discover what's the truth, right? And that's what I stand for more than anything. Even when I'm wrong, I will come out and I will say, I was wrong, guys. Tony corrected me. He corrected me and told me I was wrong, and I'm admitting it right here and now. You need to know that what I said was incorrect. And this is the thing that we're not seeing in some of these other places, is that they're not coming forward and saying, I listened to an opposing objective opinion and decided that, yeah, maybe I'm not right about this. They're never wrong. They're never wrong. I can't even tell you guys, if you're running into those people in the community where they're absolutely zero, never wrong, there's something wrong. There's something wrong with that. We're all wrong. Some at some point, we're all human. We make mistakes, and that's how life works. But
Even me. Yeah.
yeah,
I definitely get things wrong, even though everyone always says Tony thinks he never gets stuff wrong. No, I get stuff wrong. And I will tell you, uh, I've done apologies on Twitter. But what I do try and say on those space calls when I really vehemently disagree with them, KC, is what I notice is that some of these people, I can't say all of them, because sometimes they have great guests on, but sometimes the people talking are either new investors or they're only in one play and they maybe put in more money than they should
mm,
have because they listened to somebody long before you or I came along
hmm,
that told them it was going, to whatever price, and they maybe told them to not sell. I don't know. I wasn't around. I wasn't doing YouTube back then, so that's neither here nor there. But people are upset because they're in a position that is not comfortable,
hmm,
and on top of that, none of us are happy at the fact that we're in now almost a year into a bear market, the timing of which sucks for any stock that you're in. So you got a 1-2 punch. You held on too long and you got double whammied with a bear market. So in retrospect, we all thought it would go higher than 72, but it didn't. And then we got the bear market. So it is what it is. And now people, this is what I said on Twitter the other day. People are mad. They loved Adam Aaron when the market was green, but now through no fault of his own, the market's red. We're in a bear market. We got interest rates going up. He's being forced to make some tough decisions like diluting ape. Probably didn't want to do it, but look, he's got limited choices because there's debt coming due. And now people want to hate on the CEO when it's really the economy's fault and maybe some bad expectations from YouTubers who have already abandoned the play. So my message to these people is get control of your emotions, have some patience. When the stock market recovers, stocks will go back up. They all want it to go mow ass tomorrow. In a bear market, that is not likely to happen. Just my opinion. So I think just to say it plainly, I think Adam Aaron is doing the best that he can in the situation that he's in. Do I trust him 100%? Absolutely not. I don't trust anybody. As a famous person once told me on a movie, I don't know. I trust two people, Casey, God and the man in the mirror. I don't trust anybody 100%. And no, I'm not trying to get Adam Aaron on for an interview. I'm not trying to curry favor with Adam Aaron. I have worked for corporations. I've been around executives and CEOs and people who get paid with stock options and millions of dollars. I'm not going to say I've ever been a CEO of a multi-million-dollar company, but I know how these people operate and how they think. Yes, Adam Aaron is vested in the company financially, even if he was granted stock options.
Through 3 different brokers. Sorry, I had to throw
I
that in.
I don't know what that means, but I heard someone say today, Adam Aaron didn't pay for those stock options. He's not financially vested. I can tell you, I was granted stock options at the company I worked for. I fucking felt vested as hell. You think I wanted that company? Do you think I woke up every day and wanted to make that company succeed? Or do you think I didn't pay for them? Who the fuck cares if it goes to zero? Of course you care if those options are worth, or those shares are worth something or not. Everybody has basic human emotions and greed. He fucking cares. If he was a multi-billionaire, a few hundred million might not matter to them, but everybody cares whether you paid for them or not. I can guarantee you that. That's opinion only, Casey, for the haters. I can guarantee you that's my opinion.
Yeah.
Adam Aaron wants to see the company succeed. He also cares, I think, about his legacy, just knowing how CEOs, what their mentality, the type of person who rises to that type of position. They care about their legacy. They care about being remembered as a success. These are all my opinions. So I'm going to give, for the time being, until I have hard evidence otherwise, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I say, look, if you want to call him out and put pressure on him, do what you think you need to. I'm not going to call you names because you're doing that. I'm going to tell you if I disagree, and I have on Twitter. I'm telling you, be patient. But you still have my blessing to do whatever the fuck you want, because that's your right.
I agree. May I steal the show for just a minute?
Knock
Since
it out. Yep.
I don't know how many people are watching or anything, so it makes me less nervous if I don't know. So
I
don't
don't
tell
either.
me.
I don't either.
But I just wanted to kind of talk about CHX a little bit and some of my findings on that. And if you don't mind, I'd like to share
Yeah.
one of my
CHX, you said?
CHX. It's
Yeah.
an
So
exchange.
set it up with a little bit of preamble.
So what happened was on the 6th of this month, I saw a spike in CHX volume that was very abnormal. Normally, I watch Off Exchange and I watch CBOE, Chicago-based options board. Um, that is usually the two that I watch, because one of those is the options and the other one is off exchange data, and I want to see kind of how much volume goes through there on a daily basis. Is around like 64% should be a normal day for us, is what usually goes through. If it's higher, it's higher. If it's lower, it's lower. But on the 6th, we had a sudden spike in CHX volume, and it put it right underneath off exchange, and it lists them in order of who has the most volume going through each exchange. I had never seen CH. In fact, I didn't even recognize it because it's normally at the very last one at the bottom with like zero volume whatsoever, and it just suddenly pops up to like number 2, and I was like, what's this? And so I didn't know what it was. So what it is it's the New York Stock Exchange, Chicago, and it's owned by an intercontinental, and I can't remember the last part of their name, Intercontinental something or other, and they purchased it back in 20, I think it was 2018, and have owned it, I believe, since. It is a SEC regulated exchange. And so I started looking into it, trying to figure out what the heck is going on. Why was there this sudden volume spike that went through this particular exchange? And the more I started looking at it and trying to make some parallels to things that I've seen in the past, or different things that have flagged during certain periods of time, I was noticing that there was an extreme correlation to failure to delivers, or settlements that needed to occur, that were going through this exchange. In other words, let's say, for example, you got maybe it's like 2 million shares or something like that, or a million shares that need to be delivered by X date, or they show up on the system, right? You get a reporting of some failure delivers that are pretty large. Uh, you would see shortly thereafter, or maybe even on the same day, that exchange showing a spike in volume. And so what I decided to do was to go through and look where some of the different spikes in volume were at, and then kind of take a look at that and what it looks like in price runs that we've had on the past history on AMC, and do a little correlation. Now, like the MMAT that you just listed off a little while ago, I kind of pulled that one up because I just wanted to kind of take a look at it, and it's actually got it's one of the first ones. On Monday, I did this test with my live stream and said, you guys just name a stock, and I'm going to write down the first 8 stocks that I get. And we're going to go through each one and see if I can't pick out where the price runs are without even knowing what the price history looks like on any of those stocks. One of them I had actually already known of, but one of them I actually picked a bimodal. Like as we were looking through the data, I saw a bimodal volume spike on it where it went up, came back down, and then went up again. Now, the way that it was in the nature of it, usually the way you see it happening is there may be 2 spikes, and sometimes the second spike is the end of the price run, like they finish their settlements, and then the price comes dropping back down. In this particular instance, it was a rise up, a rise down, and a very obvious rise back up again. And I said, this almost looks like it's bimodal. And we went over to go look at the price, and sure enough, price spike up, comes back down, price spike back up. It was a total bimodal. It was just like, holy crap! I even called it out without even knowing. And it's and not only
What
that,
was
but
it?
I'd have to go back to the stream and look at it. I don't remember what it
Oh,
was off the
okay.
top of my head.
I thought you knew
But yeah,
off the
no, that
top of
would
your
be,
head.
it would be cool if I could remember things like that, but no, sadly not. But I just want to share with you. I'm getting ready to post something here really soon, and I just wanted to share. I was working on this just before I came on to the live stream, and I'm trying to remember how to share screens with you here. Um, Share screen, screen one. I don't know if this is going to be big enough or not, but um,
I can fix it.
so essentially, what I've done is I've taken some screenshots, and I've you're looking at on AMC. The volume's a little large on this. I can probably make this a little bit bigger here. Um, but you're looking at September's price run to June's price run, where we had the big run up, and then this is the January run up in oh no, that says March. March. Here's the January run up right here. So, anyways, I've got the volume in here, and you can see anytime there's a blank field in this body here, it's zero. There's zero volume that traded through that exchange. When it all of a sudden it spikes up to 100, I mean, I shouldn't even say spike. Spike's not 100 shares is not a spike, right? But all of a sudden you start seeing data going through here. Now, if you look at price here, price, the one that I have highlighted, 3,000, is at the top of a little price run, right? So you're going like, oh, huh, interesting. Little looks like they maybe the price was running for those 3 days because they were trying to come up with some shares to be able to or they had shares they had to settle, so they were buying or forced settling 41,350 shares. So then price history goes on, and it does a little more fluctuating upwards in price. You come up to the dates here and you get to 12/22, which is right here. And this is actually after the price had already run up in this particular instance. But then, so this is the after portion. So like when price ran up on this particular run right here, these may have been from, there's actually two price runs. There's one right here underneath the box, and then one right here. And after those two price runs, all of a sudden there's 300,000 shares that are forced to settle on 12/22. So this is signaling after the fact. It's saying, oh, yep, yeah, you had some shit happen right there. So price moves along and downwards afterwards, and then you have three different. You know what? Do I have? I think I have an extra flag in here. Let me check these dates real quick here. 12/22. Okay, actually, okay, so this one right here that's flagged is this one right here. I don't know what this one is. 30th of November is this date down here. It's empty. I need to get rid of this line. This line shouldn't be here. There we go.
Casey and I have been talking about this for a few days, by the way.
So now you've got price starting to run down after that run up, right? Price is
Yep.
running down, and you have 3 days that flag. You have 12/22, 1/4, and 1/15, and they're all like you got 300,000 here, 600,000 here, and then 402,000 as price is running down here. But notice that the secondary failure of 600,000 is the very bottom of when price starts to go on the third flag. You end up having like price starting to hit some of the largest runs, and look at the amount of volume starting on let's see, 115. I don't have the dates between 115 and 122, but you can see the amount of volume that starts to grow, and by the time it gets to 2.4, there's 1.6 million in. And I'm calling these settled shares because I really do believe this is a settlement exchange, and this is where you can find it. But after this is all said and done, this run up in January, they had like $1.6 million that traded through this exchange. That's extremely high when you consider the fact we were looking back here in these months when price was much, much lower. Being lucky in this box right here, hitting anything over 40,000, in this box, anything over 600,000. So this one's like 3 times that, right? So price keeps on moving along, and then you've got another spike here after it kind of settles off like they've done all their settlements. It drops off to 3 shares on this day, 6 shares on this day, down to 0. Then it goes 5, and then it goes 300, right, on 219. And 219 happens to be the very day that price starts running back up again. They start having to settle $300,000 more, and you can see that it starts stacking again, and there's just crazy amounts of settlements of shares that are occurring during that time. Well, price runs up all the way up to the very top over here by March 19th. And it kind of dissipates. There's no big numbers until, again, you don't get to anything really in the 100Ks. There's on 3.1, there's 100K. Let's see where 3.1 is. 3.1 is right here. So I could probably put a line right there. 3.1 right there. I didn't highlight it though, but then you got another 100K again at 4.5. 4.5 is on the back side of all this settlement, but it is still about I don't know what, a week or so away from seeing another price run again. And price starts running in April of 21. Right? Then you've got a big dry spell. From this 100K, you can see that there's like nothing being traded through here. I mean, it's like less than 1,000 shares, right? 1,000 shares is about as much as it is. All of a sudden on 5/14, spikes to 2,400 shares. Then all of a sudden it spikes up to 19,600 shares on 5/18 after price had already started running, right? So doesn't that look like a settlement to you? Like if price starts running and somebody's suddenly doesn't have the shares that they need to be able to deliver when they're supposed to, this looks like a settlement to me. Somebody's needing to find shares, and then you have on 5/27 1 million shares that are needed to be accounted for, or that trade through that exchange on 5/27, which when I had this chart spread way out, you're going like, dang, that's a big huge jump right there. But in actuality, we hadn't even hit close to the top yet, right? 1 million shares coming due right here on this candle, and then it really starts ripping after you have 1 million shares that are due for settlement. So I think there's something to this, and I think that I'd like to think that I found potentially a spot where when there's forced settlements, this is where they trade. And my hope is that when in the future I'll be able to see when these settlements start happening again in this exchange, they'll flag and I'll be able to see them, and we'll know something's coming. That's my hope.
I'm going to add my 2 cents
Go for it.
because it's my channel.
Yeah. Sorry.
You're,
Sorry, man.
you're not gonna like everything I say, but you're gonna like
No,
the
that's
first.
all right.
You're gonna like the first part of what I say. I think it's fascinating that you found this. Were you the one that discovered this?
Yeah.
I think it's fascinating that you discovered it. It definitely is an anomaly seeing volume show up on CHX from time to time. And I would love for anyone who loves to be a sleuth to help KC and me, although I'm not spending near as much time looking into it as KC, help KC figure out what the fuck is going on. Help us find out who is doing the trading on CHX, because I think that is the key. But Casey, I don't know that I agree with the definition of a settlement exchange. Like, an exchange reports a trade when it happens, and settlement's T+2. But that's neither here nor there. It's not really important to the discussion that you found something that is spiking on a certain exchange around the time that prices move, whether it's a couple days before, during, or after. Why? That has me really curious, the why.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's something worth continuing to dig into.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, there's something going on here. It's too, and see, here's the other part too. The fact that I just had, 8 random stocks pulled up on Monday. I just kind of ran a test with everybody, and we pulled up 8 random stocks and did the same thing. And then I said, okay, well, I'm going to try and figure out where these stocks are rising in price, even though I've never seen the price history of these. I'm going to pull it up here first and tell you what dates I think it's going to spike on, just based off of my analysis of what I'm seeing spikes on CHX. We go over, we start checking the data, and sure enough, what was even more crazy. Is that Tony, if I pulled up Ortex's data and kind of overlaid some of the dates where we had spikes, guess what else was triggering a lot of times?
FTDs,
No, well,
short
sometimes
interest.
a lot of times the failure to delivers were beforehand, but there were sometimes where it fell on failure to delivers. But Reg Show was tripping on a lot of these. It was really kind of interesting to watch and see how Reg Show would show up in some of the situations. Not always. I mean, there was a lot of times where Reg Show didn't pop up, but there were a lot of instances where when there was very large spikes in this, that Reg Show would pop up, and it would be, and usually the spike in the number would be about the third or maybe the fourth day into the Reg Show um, uh, green, or the green box you get for the Reg Show.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. So that the threshold, it's called on Ortex, it's called the threshold list, but it's the Reg Show. So it was really fascinating. I've never seen anything like that before.
It
Going like,
really
there's
is.
something going on here.
You have stumbled on something that I don't think anyone's ever really called out before, and I hope that at some point in the near future we collectively, through the power of groupthink, that we figure it out.
Now,
I would love to know who's trading on CHX and why.
Just for shits and giggles, I pulled up MMAT because you were talking about it, just because I wanted to see if there was some, weird spiking going on here. I'm actually going to go to the very beginning page that they have here, because I just want to note that, like, I don't know anything about MMAT whatsoever. I know nothing about this stock, right? And I just want to note that the first dates that were recorded were 628 and 629, when in actuality, when I went over to the stock and looked at price, that it's been trading far longer than that. So I'm not sure what exactly happened to why this isn't reporting further back, when I know other stocks report much further back than 99. Was there some kind of acquisition that occurred here?
I'm looking at it's the first chart that I can see on MMAT was going back all the way to 2010.
Yeah, so I don't know what exactly happened and why the chart's not showing any further back than this, but the very first 2 days that are reporting are what I would consider to be very high days because as you start to look forward into this, you can see that you've got a 234,216 on the very first 2 days, and then it drops off to like nothing.
What are
You
the
move
dates?
forward. The dates 6/28 and 6/29 of 2021, and
All
I think
right.
I
So
already looked at those, and they were on the backside of like movements. I think.
yeah, there was a huge spike on MMAT. This was a momentum retail play back in summer of last year,
Hmm.
and June 30th was the big spike. It went all the way up to 2176 on the top of the wick
I can't
from
see any further
from
back and
42 cents
oh, wow.
couple months before.
I mean, if I could see further back, maybe there would have been some more spikes in here and I would have seen it beforehand. So, but anyways, I went moving forward and I was looking at this is actually one of the first ones that I've ever gotten to where I don't see like there's a whole lot of no data in here under CHX, a whole lot of no data in here. There's a little spike here on 9/28 of 2021 of 12,000 shares. But a lot of the times when I see these single spikes like this with no data surrounding it, it doesn't really lead to much, or it may be on the backside of a movement. That's what I'm tending to see. Like, maybe
Yeah,
the price moved.
they're telling us it was because of the merger with Torch,
Ah, okay,
TRCH. That's probably why you can't see the data before, and
okay,
it's all ringing a bell as I was going through the MMTLP talk an hour ago.
okay.
Yeah,
And then as time moves on, it start building up to like thousands of shares, and then there's a little bit of I guess what I might call like a little bit of a movement or stacking here, starting maybe like 12/6 of 2021, and it starts stacking. And as it starts to stack, it goes on for quite a while, and it's very consistent, but no like major spikes. Like it's just a very steady, consistent movement of shares for a while, and it's difficult for me to say what's going on with price exactly here, but it's very consistent. I don't know if there's a move in price. Like I said, I'm not familiar with the stock any, and then it goes dead again. Then we go to the next page. There is a spike here on 318. But people are probably really wondering, like, just cut to the chase. Where are we at right now? So I'll just kind of zoom over to the very first page just to show you guys where we're at right now. This is the second to last page, which is like basically from 6/17 June to August, and there is a little bit of a buildup here, but not a whole lot. And then you've got again that nice steady buildup, and then you've started getting some spikes of 10,000, 18,000. Now I'm gonna guess here because I'm not actually looking at the stock, and I can see that the off exchange is trading like 2 million shares, and that the CHX has got low volume. I'm guessing this is for the most part, probably a really really low volume stock. I'm guessing. Like it doesn't have a whole lot of free float. My guess. Is that right?
free float
Yeah, I'm guessing. Let me just guess. I'm gonna guess that it's like I'm gonna guess that it's maybe like 5 million. Let's go 4 or 5 million.
right now. It's showing 270 million. I don't know the history
What?
of,
270 million? Yeah, these aren't big spikes at all. Okay, these aren't big. If that's the case, then these are not big spikes.
but they're big relative to other trades on that exchange, right?
I mean, not well, no, because if you go to percentage wise, these numbers are actually see, and that's another great. You bring up a wonderful point right there, right? Because you do want to look to see what this looks like as a percentage compared to everything else. Because for me, it's easier to see volume, and I like to see volume spikes, right? But one of the things that I notice is that you can kind of get into a situation where if you just look at the spike of volume as a percentage across the entire board, if you only see like a 34% or 0.34%, that looks like a spike, right? Right there. Because everything else is like really, really low numbers.
Yep.
But when you go to look at the actual value, it's only 4,261 and there's 16,000 over here. So I found that it's much better to look at the actual volume and not look at the percentage wise. So it's just kind of something that I've noticed after having looked at this exchange for a while.
Well, let's get the team to work trying to help Casey figure out and reach out to whoever you know and help him figure out what the fuck is going on with AMC trades on CHX, because I am very curious. I think it's a worthwhile pursuit. What else we got to do in a bear market than figure out these new little things?
Yeah.
Whether it's a precursor, whether it's concurrent to a spike, or whether it's a couple days after. Why CHX? That's what I was asking. Casey and I have been talking about this for several days. He's been doing all the work. I've been dabbling in it in my free time. But my main question is, how do they choose the exchange, and why CHX? Why are we seeing these random spikes on AMC on the CHX exchange? It does seem odd, Casey.
Yeah. My biggest fear is that, now that I've discovered this, and if it's, becomes highly public, is that it'll start disappearing, and maybe we wouldn't have like such a great signal like this. But
They'll bury it in the NYSE.
I know, right? I don't know. Who knows?
All right. Well, I mean, it's good. I'm assuming you've talked about this on your live streams.
Wait. BTW Brand says I could burn Casey's ear off in relation to this, but he's locked into his daily routine and rambling tangents.
Have you
during
have you
streams.
have you talked on your live streams about this, Casey?
Oh yeah. I brought this up yesterday. I think yesterday was the first day where we ran the test to see if there was
That's
something
right.
odd
You
going
said
on
that
there.
because you asked for example. So now you got a little
Yeah.
bit wider distribution on the audience. Maybe, guys, help KC out. And I'll continue to look into it too. My initial look into it, I just ran into roadblock after roadblock of figuring out anything meaningful. So unfortunately, I'm not much help. But it definitely has my curiosity piqued.
Yeah, I appreciate you letting me present that, because I think the more eyes we get on this, perhaps the more results we can try and figure out like what's happening here. Because especially since it's like one of my litmus tests is like, okay, if you find a signal, that's all great, but is it something that you can apply everywhere? Because if you can't apply it everywhere on every stock, then you may not really have a signal on your hands. You may just have a
Yes.
abnormality, right?
Yep.
And so when I took this and went to other stocks and said, okay, does this apply? And it did. I was like, oh shit, something's going on here. I was like, this is kind of this is cool. So I just if I'm not sure who it was that said that about me rambling on in my live streams, but I am open to DMs, and if you want to talk to me in Discord, I always make time for people. So
Yeah. Send him a
I'm
DM on Twitter.
yeah.
BTW. I love that you went and asked for other examples, like other stocks to look into, because that is often what I do, KC. And I hear people say things like, "Oh, the GME stock split dividend is going to crush the shorts because blah blah blah." And what's the first thing I did? I went and looked back at 2 years of other companies that had stock split dividends, and the one that they wanted to talk about was Tesla,
Hmm.
but they didn't want to talk about the other 5 where nothing happened. I
Yeah.
think it is critical to look at other relevant examples, just like you're doing, and I applaud you for doing that. That is a do you have an engineering or data driven background?
Yep, engineering.
There you go.
That's I mean we've cut our teeth on the same background, and that's what they teach us to do is, contrast and compare everything. Where can you find the signals? And
You
um,
can't look at one
yeah,
data point and draw a conclusion. You got to spread your wings a little bit. And this is
yep.
the biggest problem I see on other YouTube channels like that. Oh, well, guys, I want to tell you about this new stock. What the fuck? Let me just pick one at random. ATXI. I think that was one that they were talking about. Now don't worry about the reverse split coming up on this stock, because let me give you one example of a reverse split where it ran up. What the fuck are you actually talking about, lady? You're going to
My
give them one example where a reverse split ran up, but you're going to ignore the 99 where the stocks cratered after a reverse split. Like, be intellectually honest with your audience. I'm not talking to you, Casey.
no, I
Talking
know.
about that. Talking about that shill lady on YouTube who ignores all the evidence and focuses only on things that reaffirm her one belief. We got to be open-eyed as investors to guard our money and guard our investments and be realistic about shit. You can't just look at things that reaffirm your beliefs. You got to look at everything, and then you can make an informed decision. Not all data matters, but you got to look at all of it and then decide. You can't just that's why when I cover stocks, I try and say the positive and the negative. Even though people hate to hear the negative, it's how you fairly evaluate shit. So good job on looking at other stocks to help you figure out CHX.
Yeah, thanks. Somebody was oh shoot, hold on a second. I clicked the wrong button. Crystal was saying that I should say my Twitter. It's at AMKC Shaw. So if you guys want to DM me there, you're more than welcome to.
Can you spell that? I'm just kidding.
Oh man, it's late for me, man. I got to go to bed here because I got to be up in what do I got to be up in 5.5 hours.
All right, and I'm pretty sure Scarlett wants me to stop working too. Whew. Now that she's back from her late night yoga class, she wanted me to tell you when she came home. I was looking at her in the other room. She's like, "Did you tell them that you're in trouble?" I was like, "Why am I in trouble? Because you didn't go to yoga with me."
Oh,
I was like, "Well, I have not really been live in a couple days, and I got some things I need to talk about, and plus my knee is still hurting me, and I don't know if it's safe for me to do yoga." I hear her laughing in the other room right now.
Eric's
But
asking what was the
that's
date?
all true.
Oh, so how often do you do yoga?
I mean, not very often. I mean, she does yoga a couple days a week, and she asks me every time, and I usually say no. But
And do
if
you
I
wear
had,
yoga pants?
hey, Scarlett, how many times have I? No, I do not wear yoga pants. How many times? If I had to guess, we could get her on camera. But if I had to guess, the amount of times I've done yoga in 2022 would be 4.
4 times?
Maybe, yeah, not a lot. It's not that I don't enjoy it. It's great. Like if you're working out and doing weights, which if I'm on my regular schedule is every other day. On your off day, doing a good stretching session is good. Like, don't hate on yoga. If you're getting tight from exercising, yoga it can be challenging if you go to the right class, and it is good for your body. So I know I used to have a very negative attitude about it. Right now, I'm just mostly negative because my knee is fucked up.
Still?
Yes. I need to go to a doctor, or I have a mobile physical therapist. If you ever need one, Casey, he comes to your house, and he is an excellent professional. I either need to go to an orthopedic doctor or have this physical therapist come over and do an evaluation and figure out how bad I fucked up my knee, because it's been over 2 months going on 3 now, and I still have pain. At least I can walk. So, that's why I've been a man about it. I've been ignoring it. But
Eric was asking what day was the day that we saw a spike recently, and that was 10/6. And any of you guys who want to look that information up for yourself, you can go to chartexchange.com and you can just plug in the ticker that you want to look at. And what?
I'm laughing at some of the comments.
Oh,
Tony's Yoga Pants is going to be a new name.
I was trying not to laugh.
Phil's going to do a song about Tony's Yoga Pants. No, I do not own yoga pants. But, the best part about being married to someone who does yoga is helping them shop for yoga clothes. I'm just saying. It's kind
Wait,
of hot. It's
what's
kind of
hot
hot.
yoga?
Hot yoga is when you go in a room that's about 101 degrees and you fucking sweat your balls off, Casey.
That doesn't sound comfortable.
It's not fun. It's extremely challenging. But I'm just saying, shopping for yoga clothes with her, that's a good. I'll do. I do not like shopping, but I'll go shopping for yoga clothes because I get to watch her try stuff on.
Sounds like a good reason.
Yeah, it's a good Saturday. All right. Did you have? Were you? I'm sorry, we got distracted with yoga. Were you trying to finish up a stock?
Oh no,
comment?
I was just saying chartexchange.com is the place where you can look up to see where that volume is trading at. When you go to chartexchange.com, which it's a free site. You plug in the stock ticker. Why did I lose my? Oh, there's. Plug in the stock ticker, and then it'll say like a little bit down on the page. It'll say exchange volume, and you can go, or it'll say something like that. You go over to the right hand side. There's a little column there. It says overview, option chain, historical, and then like other or something like that. You click that, and you go to exchange volume, and then if you scroll down the page, it's right there.
I'm going to say I'm a professional. Men do not fuck with soy milk. No.
Dude, somebody was saying a soy boy today.
Soy fucks with your testosterone. Do not fucking
What
do that
is?
shit.
Okay, that's what that's about. Okay,
Yes.
it makes sense
Yeah.
to me. I was like, what's a soy boy?
It's
I looked it
someone
up,
who
but
eventually becomes. I mean, look, no. If you're lactose intolerant, I'll throw you a pass. But otherwise, guys, just take it from me. Don't fuck with soy.
no, Rami, tons trade. That was one of the really big. It was May 27th was one of the biggest days that we've had through CHX. It was like 1 point something million shares. Oh no, it was 1 million shares on May 27th. But there was spikes that were happening that were even before that.
If it doesn't have nipples, by the way, don't call it milk. Just call it juice, okay? Oat juice, hemp juice. Do not call it milk on my channel.
So is an almond a nipple?
Almonds have no nipples. No.
Are you sure? It looks like a nipple. I don't know. I don't know if I've ever seen Tony laugh like that before.
Almonds are good for you. They are they're one of the power foods, but yeah, no nipples on almonds.
Okay. All right.
And I have never tried oat milk either. It's just like, why? Why the fuck do I want oat milk? Anyways, Casey, do you want to talk about mosquitoes and chickens real quick to wrap this up?
Oh my gosh. So
Tell us what's going on with your mosquitoes. Let's give the
Tony was
folks a
like,
laugh.
yeah, I know. So yeah, tell everybody how you like killed yourself. No. So I was sitting here, and I hate the mosquitoes in my house. I have like a mosquito problem. And so I actually, believe it or not, I have right next to me one of these big old bad suckers right here that like basically fries the crap out of these things. And every time it zaps one of those guys, I'm sitting here and I'll just be talking. I'll be like, nobody can see it because I'm sitting inside the big tramp. But anyways, I just kind of reached down, I scratched my leg, and next thing I know, I'm like bleeding profusely out my shin. It wouldn't stop bleeding for like 20 minutes. I'm going like, I hate these mosquitoes. I absolutely hate them with a passion. And Tony goes, "Oh, you should get some chickens." And I'm like, my wife would love that. She would love chickens, but I think we have I think our homeowners association doesn't allow roosters. And I think you have to have roosters, don't you?
You do not need to have roosters to get eggs.
Really? Well,
Yes,
see, I don't know what the hell I'm talking
but
about.
some neighborhoods in Austin area, Pflugerville, whatever, they do have restrictions even against chickens, depending on your offset from your neighbors. So that's something to look into. But you do not need a rooster unless you want babies. Chickens will lay an egg every day.
I learned something new. I didn't know. I'm not a
But
farm
why
guy.
do you have mosquitoes? Like, do you have like standing water? Do you have a pond or a
Nope.
nothing?
All
Huh?
right, so I'm one of those guys that the mosquitoes absolutely love my blood. If everybody likes inviting me on camping trips because I'm like the
You're the
citronella candle without
you're the
having a
mosquito
citronella
magnet.
candle. Yes. Nobody else is getting bit but me. and it's terrible. I hate it. And regular off does not work for me. I have to get the deep woods off.
Oh yeah.
And when I first moved here, I had no idea that when they say everything's bigger in Texas, that it includes the mosquitoes. So you guys don't just have like normal mosquitoes here. You have these like white and black-legged monsters that probably could milk a person in about 10 seconds. And, and they're massive. I don't understand how I don't.
We are known for having big mosquitoes in Texas. Casey, I'm opening up a new bottle. I won this in a bet, so thank you. Not from you, Casey, but
Buffalo.
I
What?
bet on the Cowboys to win, and we fucking pulled it off.
Buffalo
Buffalo
what?
Trace Kentucky Straight Bourbon.
Nice.
So this is my first time to try this one. I don't know if I'll be up at market open. I mean pre-market. I'll be up at market open, but
Oh, I will.
my third shot for the night. Are you having a cerveza tonight?
I did. I finished it a little bit earlier.
All right.
Unfortunately. So, but you know, I'll pretend with you.
So cheers to the
Cheers.
head Jesus. This is the skull of my enemies, Casey. I don't know if
Oh.
you've seen it before.
No, I have not. That is cool. Why do you have all the cool stuff all the time? I think there might be a few drops left here.
Ooh, man.
Warm
So
beer.
I just finished this bottle of Woodford Double Oaked, and now we just went to this Buffalo Trace. The hit on that bourbon, it's very, very different. The taste on these two. This one's much lighter. I mean, maybe you would expect that on a double oaked versus a standard Kentucky bourbon, but both of them are really good. The Woodford Double Oaked and the Buffalo Trace. This is really, really nice. This Buffalo Trace.
Oh man, BTW says North Carolina has 60 types of mosquitoes. I've been talking about wanting to move to North Carolina when this is all over.
So what I was going to say, Casey, my story to follow up with your mosquito story is we have chickens. We have some hens, even though Scarlett desperately wants a rooster, and we had one by accident, but how many roosters do we have, babe? Did we have one rooster or two? How many roosters did we accidentally have? Two.
Yeah, one of them was a silky bantam.
Oh yeah. One was a silky and one was a, what was the other one? A Polish, black Polish, black crested Polish. That when you buy them, Casey, as day old chicks, they can't really sex all of them. So it's kind of like a grab bag. So I'll buy like 3 of them. It's 50-50, right? If you got a rooster or a hen. If it's a rooster, once they're about a couple months old, because they start doing that cock-a-doodle-doo shit, which irritates all your neighbors. So as soon as we hear a cock-a-doodle-doo, we sell them to a farm. So we have had a couple roosters. They're very fucking loud. That's why you can't have them in the city. But the hens will lay eggs every day. I do keto, which was what actually got me into chickens. Funny story, like free breakfast, eggs, plus sustainability in case shit hits the fan. It's rumored on some YouTube channels that chicken's going to be worth $9,000 a pound. Just saying.
What?
It's a joke, Casey.
Yeah, can't even imagine.
But I have 8 eggs every day for breakfast available to me. I don't eat 8 eggs, but the rest I sell. We sell them for $5 a dozen. If you're a neighbor that I don't like, if you're a neighbor I like, you get them for free. But you're welcome. If we ever meet for barbecue, Casey, I'll bring you some organic free range eggs. How about that?
I would love that. The craziest thing is well, what kind of suck. I'd love it. My wife would love it even more. The sad part is that I know what's going to happen out of that is she's going to be like, how come we don't have any chickens or hens? Sorry,
so
hens.
Let's get into the messy part of the story, because here's what you want to tell her. They fucking shit everywhere, Casey.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
Now, if you're a gardener like me, which is also part of our shit hits the fan sustainability plan, we've got garden and I have seeds and I know how to grow shit. So I'm not going to starve unless I get taken out by a tank or, a gang with M16s. We're not, we're self-sustainable. But the chicken shit going into the compost pile is like an accelerant to your compost pile. So we collect all the clippings and food and, anything you don't use goes in the compost pile. And then the chicken droppings from where they roost also goes in the compost pile. And that's all fine. That burns up pretty quick from heat. But when they come up on your deck by your back door, for whatever reason, Casey, they love to sit by the back door and watch what we're doing inside the house. And they shit everywhere. And you know what happens? Not mosquitoes, house flies. So we don't have a mosquito problem. We have a housefly problem. I'm always having to go out there and every day and hose the deck off. And I've got a wooden deck and then a cement deck also. Hose it off.
Have you tried water bags?
I've tried. Well, we have fly traps, the bait traps. Yeah. So we've tried everything, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. There's not, you go to, if you raise chickens, you know what I'm talking about. It's just something you got to deal with. But they are entertaining. They have their own personalities, and we do get free breakfast. And if shit ever does hit the fan, we will eat some. But for most part, they're just for the free breakfast.
There was a guy online who was on YouTube that was recommended to me, and I don't know why, but he was doing chickens and he was rotating them around different places on his property for whatever reason. Because I guess maybe they help fertilize or whatever as he's rotating them.
The chickens.
Yeah, the chickens.
Yeah, they do that because they will eat every grass you have. So you got to move them frequently, but they also fertilize.
And so he was moving them around and stuff, but he was talking about the fly problem that was happening with his cows that he had there. And so he was covering like all the different types of fly traps that he was going through to see if which ones would work best. And man, there's some really cool fly traps out there. I had no idea. Yeah.
There are, but also I found fly traps attract flies too. So it's a no-win situation. Jeffrey says dog and cat shit is terrible for compost. Yeah, do not use dog and cat shit, guys, for your compost. Rabbit shit and chicken droppings are okay. Dog and cat, that's a no-no. But yeah, I mean, many farmers or people that raise rabbits and chickens will tell you it's really good stuff for your fertilizer. And you put it, if you got a compost pile and you put some rabbit droppings or chicken droppings in it, it'll heat up from 90 degrees to 130 in about a day.
Wow.
Yeah, really, really good. And then we take that compost and move it to the garden once a year. It's fantastic for fluffing up your soil.
Well, I'm gonna head out, man. I gotta take
All
off.
right. Thank you, Casey. Thank you, Pam, Javi, who else did I miss? What other I was gonna say admins, mods. Thank you to everybody. Thank you to all the members of the channel for your support. You guys know why I'm not doing lives. We talked about it in the Discord. I'm not here to handhold people in a bear market. Casey's doing all the heavy lifting, and we love you, Casey, for that. Go check out Casey if you need a place to hang out during the day. I've been debating, Casey, if I should do some live streams, shorting the indexes or shorting other stocks, but I'm afraid people would, by extension, think I'm shorting everything, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But it's really tough to trade, guys. In a bear market, I'm mostly just in a hunker down and survive mode. I'm looking for deals. I'm not a short trader. Although the longer this goes on, the more I think about it. And if it ever comes to that, maybe we'll do it. But Casey's doing the heavy lifting. Check him out during the day. And I'll continue to do support you guys on Twitter. Check me out there on Discord, which I never talk about. And I'm not going to tell you how to find it because I'm not here to sell a Discord. In fact, we don't want you on the Discord. Don't even try and find it. But we'll do the live streams at night. And when I find something worth trading, whether it's AMC, GameStop, or some other momentum trades, you can be sure I'll be live during the days to do that. Be careful right now. Things are changing in a heartbeat. You see it hour by hour, day by day. It's really tricky to trade. You got to survive right now and look for deals. KC, take us home.
Thank you for having me on, Tony. I really appreciate you having me in here. And as always, I always love the fact that we're even though we don't agree on everything, ultimately in the end, we still discuss and we can still be friends. And I like that. And it's the fact that we know and we share the fact that we have a common goal, which is AMC, and it's just to get that squeeze out of it. So, I really appreciate the fact that you brought me on and gave me an opportunity to be here tonight. And thank you to all your mods. Some of them are the same as mine. And it's great to see everybody on here. I'm sorry I didn't say hi or whatever, and I apologize if we didn't answer everybody's questions. But and BTW, I don't know how I scared you off or whatnot, but you seem like very disgruntled. I'm sorry, man. I don't know how I messed. I don't know how I messed that up, but you're always welcome anytime. And again, thank you, Tony. And I like the hat, by the way. It's a pretty cool hat.
Hey,
You always got
appreciate
cool
you.
hats.
Love you, KC. Thanks for all your hard work and dedication and supporting the troops. And good days are ahead, guys. You got to fucking be patient, be cold-blooded, be emotionless. You got this. If this is your first time in the stock market, welcome to the stock market. And every bear market is followed by a bull market. So patience is the word of the day. Spread the word. There's a joke in there somewhere, Casey. You know what I'm trying to say, right?
Maybe.
Legs is the word of the day. Spread the word. You don't know that old joke, Casey?
No, I you know what? Cobblestone roads are not my thing.
All right, guys, we will see you on the next one. Folks that are members of the channel, I'll see you on the Discord in the morning. Cheers.